What's up everybody, Bearded Gentleman back here for another video, and today I am finally going to build myself a custom computer. That's right everybody, the day has finally come. I've been waiting for this for a very long time, and today's the day. So as you can see here, I got a bunch of parts behind me. Let me run through the parts list. First of all, I'll start off with the case. This is a Phanteks P300 case. I caught this on sale on Newegg a little while back. It was on sale for only $49.99. It's normally, I believe, a $70 case. It does have a tempered glass side panel. Comes with one fan. It has slots for 4 fans, 120, 140 millimeter fans. Only comes with one. I wanted to make sure that I had plenty of airflow here, so I picked these up as well. This is a 3-pack of Thermaltake fans, and as you can see here, they do have red LEDs in them, so kind of red and black's kind of the theme that I'm going with. So I got some extra fans here, that way I've got plenty of airflow moving through the case. Now for the main heart of the system, this is a Gigabyte AB350 Gaming 3 motherboard. B350 means that I am building a Ryzen system, AMD Ryzen. And so what I'm going to be going with for the CPU is actually a 2400G that has onboard graphics. But I wanted a good motherboard to take me into the future, because this is kind of a first step. This is kind of a sticking my toes in the water a little bit on building a computer. I do plan on upgrading this system in the future. By going with this AM4 socket, they're saying that this is going to be supported for a long time. I don't have a graphics card. The 2400G has onboard graphics. Don't quite have the budget right at the moment for a graphics card. However, my current system is really old and it just doesn't really do much for me, so I need to get moving on something. So I've got my motherboard here. It does have some RGB lighting on it. I've got a Crucial 250 gigabyte MX500 solid state drive. That's going to be my primary boot hard drive. First time I've ever had an SSD, so I'm kind of excited about that. Need a little bit of extra storage, so I've got a Western Digital 1 terabyte regular hard disk drive, regular spinning mechanical hard drive. I've actually grabbed this back out of an old computer that I had sitting around from a couple years ago, tried to salvage it, motherboard was dead, so I'm going to reformat this, just wipe it, and start all over again. Power supply is an EVGA 550 watt power supply, fully modular, 80 plus gold certified. I got a hell of a deal on this. With mail-in rebate, I got this power supply for only $40. It is normally a $100 power supply. So that was a deal I just couldn't pass up on. Might be a little overkill for what I'm building, but you know what? That's okay with me. You'll notice there's 2 parts missing here. I don't have my CPU and I don't have my RAM. Here's the issue that I have today. Today's payday. I have money today to buy those parts. However, starting tomorrow, I go back to work and I work for 6 days straight. I want to do this today. I've got the day off today. I want to do this. So, unfortunately, I live a little ways away from anywhere that stocks parts like this. I could order from Amazon and have them for, have them in a couple days, but I don't want to do that. So we're going to take a field trip to Phoenix. We're going to go to Fry's Electronics and Best Buy, most likely. And we're going to pick up our CPU and our RAM from down in the valley. We're going to come back up the hill, come back up here to Prescott, and then we're going to throw this thing together this afternoon. So I've got my iced coffee here ready to go. Well, let's hit the road and let's head down to Phoenix real quick. All right, just got done at Fry's. I got a DVI cable and I got my CPU. And I need to run over to Best Buy now to get my memory, get a flash drive, maybe a couple flash drives. And so let's head on over there. Thankfully, it's just down the street. All right, so all done at Best Buy. Let's go grab some lunch. I got a quick place for lunch. I'm going to stop and show you guys real quick. It's one of my favorite places whenever I'm in Phoenix. Going to make a quick stop for lunch. We'll head back up the hill. Let's get this computer put. All right. Here's where we're going for lunch. It's called Fired Pie. Here's your menu. Basically the way it works is it's $8.79. You put whatever you want on your pizza. It's all one price. They're freaking delicious. Alright, got my food. There it is. So yeah, I've loaded up Supreme style. Veggies, meat, like 4 different cheeses. I love this place. There's a bunch of them all over Phoenix. I'm gonna eat. We're gonna get in the car. We're gonna head home. Looks like it's storming already at home, so I need to get going. So let's just say what I'm building this afternoon, I need power and I don't need any lightning strikes. So we'll see you when we get up north. All right, here we are. We are back from Phoenix. And as you can see here, I picked up the AMD Ryzen 5 2400G. This has a processor with onboard Radeon Vega graphics. I picked up a little flash drive so that to get Windows installed and all that. Picked up some Corsair Vengeance RGB RAM. It's a 16 gigabyte kit, 3000 speed DDR4. It is the RGB one. This is something that, yes, I realize I could have made this build a little bit cheaper by not getting RGB RAM, maybe getting a different brand. But you know what? I decided I want to splurge a little bit. This is 16 gigabytes, should hold me for quite a while into the future. So I want something that looks kind of cool. So I went ahead and I went with this. This is also on the approved vendors list, the approved memory list for this processor and this motherboard. So that was another reason I went ahead and I went with this. Again, I know it's overkill. I don't care. So, and I also picked up a DVI cable, a DVI to DVI cable. My second monitor that I have here, if you saw my video where I upgraded to a dual monitor setup, my old monitor here has VGA and DVI outputs. Or inputs, I should say. This motherboard has HDMI and DVI. My old computer did not have any DVI outputs on it. So that's the second monitor is currently running on VGA, which this motherboard cannot accommodate. So I had to pick up a DVI cable to go ahead and be able to continue running the dual monitor setup. So the way we're going to do this today, we're going to do what's called an outside the case build first. Where I'm going to get this processor set in there, the fan, the RAM, into the motherboard, pull the power supply out, connect it up, and see if it posts. See if it turns on. Just to verify my RAM works, verify that the motherboard works, verify that the CPU works. So we're going to do those really quick. We're going to do those first. We'll show you guys that. If that goes well, then we will go ahead and take that and put it into the case and go ahead and get the entire thing all put together. So, I'm going to go ahead and shut the camera off here. I'm going to go ahead and put on some music here for myself in my room. You guys aren't obviously going to hear that because I don't want to get copyrighted. So, I'm going to get started into this and we'll be back in just a second. Alright, so I cleared some of the stuff off the desk here. We need to take the motherboard out of its box here. A couple of these have a couple pieces cut out because I had to send in the mail-in rebates, obviously. So we'll open up the motherboard here. And be careful with it. It comes in this little anti-static bag. And there's going to be some other stuff we're going to need out of here. Got our I/O shield. This pops into the case. This is kind of the port to get to all the actual ports on the motherboard. So we'll set that aside for just a moment. It comes with, looks like we got a couple of SATA cables here. These are the data cables that connect to the hard drive. It comes with two of those, and not sure what this is for. I'm gonna look through the manual here. I don't need this right at the moment. I know that much. So I'll set that off to the side. I've got my manuals here. Now the way that I've always seen this recommended, everything's out of the box. Take your box and use that as your building surface. So, very carefully open this up. And you notice I grabbed some gloves. I got these for a couple bucks at work. Couple reasons. One, obviously these are electrical components, so I want to be touching them with my skin as little as possible, no static shock and all that kind of stuff. Set the motherboard there. Take this. You don't want to keep using this. Will it actually fry your motherboard? Probably not, but we don't need it. So put that away. And so here's our motherboard. So we got 2 PCI Express slots. These would be where a graphics card would go if I put a graphics card in it, which I plan to do in the future. Memory slots go here, CPU goes here, got all your ports in the back. So I'm going to do a quick look through the manual here to make sure that I follow all the instructions correctly, and we'll go ahead and get the CPU installed along with the cooler and the RAM, and then we'll be right back in just a second. Alright, so I got motherboard out here, it's ready to go. This is my CPU, it comes with a little sticker, but we won't worry about that right at the moment. Lift this little lever up, and you can't see it really well, but there's a corner here that I have to line up. There's a couple triangles you have to line up. So I'll set that there. Now it's really not the time for Nugget to be an asshole. My corner with the triangle is this one up here. And then I have to take the CPU and I have to line it up. No wiggle at all. Clamp back down, hook it under. Okay, CPU's installed. Now the cooler, it comes with a cooler, so that was very, very good. So just kind of to let you know my thought process as I'm doing this. I'm doing this with the onboard graphics for now. What I would like to do is perhaps Black Friday, perhaps next spring when I get taxes back, that kind of thing. I would like to upgrade this system. So maybe around Black Friday, maybe I'll see if there's any sales on any graphics cards, get something like an RX 580 or a 1070 or 1070 Ti. I don't have any 4K monitors, any 144 hertz monitors or anything like that, and I won't probably for a while. So I don't need like 1080 Ti's or obviously NVIDIA's about to announce the new range of graphics cards, whatever those are going to be called. I don't need the highest end thing, but a good mid-range, good decent GPU would be nice. So that's kind of what my mindset is. Maybe next spring I might, because these B350 motherboards are compatible, excuse me, and they're going to be supported into the future as well. My thought process is possibly next spring, maybe upgrade to a higher core count, higher thread processor. So at that time I might change out the coolers, add a better cooler, that kind of thing. But this is, as I mentioned before, this is a very good foot in the door. So I just realized there's one thing I do have to do here, and that's take off. It's got a couple of pieces here. Okay, take the screwdriver. There's an old style of cooler, I guess, that the AMD products had. I have to take that off. So I have to take these screws off here. Because I have to take these two pieces here off in order to put the cooler that comes with the CPU in order to put that in. And so those are off. I'm going to switch screwdrivers here. This one has a magnetized tip. It's a little bit smaller, but this should work just fine. So, take this out. There is some already applied thermal paste here. There should be. Double check my paperwork here, but their thermal paste should already be applied. If it's not, I'm in trouble because I don't have any. Alright, and now take the fan header here and figure out which way I want this to go. Okay, so it's going to be that way. Should just set right down on there. kind of want to go a crisscross pattern, just like how you put lug nuts on a car. Again. Good look at it. Looks seated down nice and even. All right, so that's done. Now take our RAM. My flash drive is ready for Windows. Okay. While I'm doing this, I'm going ahead and I'm downloading Windows onto my flash drive that I picked up. All right, so 2 sticks, 16 gigabytes of RAM. Just to throw this out there, the current computer that I have right now is a Pentium processor, couple generations old. I believe it has 4 gigabytes of RAM in the entire system. And I want to say the CPU is either a single or at the most a dual core processor, and it runs at like 2 gigahertz. This runs at well over 3.5, 4 cores, 8 threads. So as you can tell, a significant upgrade. Need that slot. So I looked in the manual and it says to use slots 1 and 2, which are going to be the 2 red ones. So we want to open those, open that, and now these, they're offset, so they should only go in one way. Yep, they line up on the notch. Snap, snap. And for the second stick, snap, snap. Plug CPU fan header. Okay. So now that RAM is installed, CPU is installed, CPU cooler is installed, go ahead and move this stuff out of the way here. Now we're going to get our power supply out. And I'm actually going to disconnect my second monitor from my current computer, and I'm going to go ahead and plug the DVI cable that I bought, plug that in, and go ahead and plug the DVI cable in, and then we're going to test and see if the system powers on. If it powers on, then we can go ahead and set this off to the side, take the case, prep the case, get it up here on the table, and get it ready to go. So let me get that all set up here, and we'll be right back. All right, so motherboard's ready to go. Let's go ahead and unbox the power supply here, and we'll pull out the cables that we're going to need. I'll show you kind of what all comes in here. We're not going to need everything. Anyways, this is a fully modular power supply. Turn you a little bit here. So basically, fully modular power supply means that it's got a bunch of cables. All the cables can be plugged in independently. Nothing. You only plug in. You only need to plug in what you need. You don't have any extra cables. So it comes with this little pack here for any cables you don't need. There's some cables. Some more cables. This is for testing, I believe, is what that's for. Got some screws, some zip ties here, and the power supply itself. Like I mentioned before, I got this power supply on sale for a really, really good deal. I had actually already purchased a Corsair semi-modular 550 watt 80 plus bronze certified power supply, And I decided, like literally before it even got here, I saw the EVGA go on sale. So I decided to go ahead and get that, and I sent the Corsair back to Amazon. I decided I didn't want to use that, so. Alright, so I got the power supply out here, and we only need a couple of these cables right this moment. We need the main 24 pin right here, and we need the CPU power. That's all we need at the moment, because all we're going to do is just test and see if the system posts. So that's a peripheral cable, don't need that. That's the cable into the wall, we will need that. This is a 6+2, I believe that's for a graphics card. CPU, so we do need that one. Not need that one. SATA, so that's for the hard drives. We do need that one. And this is the main one, the 24 pin. Another SATA. And a Molex adapter. So these are the two cables that we need. We're going to go ahead and plug just these two in. And then what I have to do is I need to look in the motherboard manual and just simply find which pins here are for power. And basically you just take a little screwdriver, you just touch them together, basically closing the circuit. System should power on at that point. And I should see something on the screen when I do that. So shut the camera off, we're going to get everything all connected here. I'll run the different cable that I need for this monitor, and keep our fingers crossed and we'll see if it posts. Alright, so I got power hooked up here to the 24 pin and the 8 pin. I got the monitor plugged in. Power supply is plugged into my surge protector back here. So all I'm going to do is you take a flathead screwdriver, preferably the smaller the tip the better. Go ahead and flip on the switch. Okay, that's a good sign. The RAM lights up. I like that sign so far. And now, all I should have to do, very carefully, fan spins, and we're going to look for signal over here on the monitor. Monitor's coming on. Gigabyte. It works. Alright, so that's a very, very good sign. That's what we wanted to see. BIOS has been reset. Please reconfigure BIOS setup items if needed. We'll get to that here in just a second. What this means right here is the CPU is registering, the graphics is outputting, the RAM is registering, it's powering on. The reason I'm breathing a massive sigh of relief right now is this is a B350 motherboard. Not all of these came out of the box ready to take the 2000 series chips. I did everything I could to make sure that this one was compatible, but I could not be 100% sure until I did this just now. So, whew, sigh of relief. So that posts. I'm going to go ahead and turn this back off, and we're going to go ahead and set this aside for a second. We're going to go ahead and grab the case. We're going to pull it out of the box. We're going to get it prepped, and we're going to get ready to go. Let's get this thing put together. Whew, thank you. Alright, so it's time to open up the case. I have not opened this up before, so this is going to be a live first time unboxing. There. Open that there. Put that away so we don't hurt ourselves. And hopefully nothing's broken. Lift up. Now that ceiling fan. Set that box right there. Get it out of the way. Foam in the box. Foam in the box. All right. Everything looks good so far. That all off in the box. Nugget is going to want to get in the box. All right. So here it is, Phanteks P300. Has tempered glass side panel. We got the sticky. We don't peel that off until everything turns on. That is an absolute rule I have learned. Okay, so what we're going to need to do is take this side panel here off. You have to take the back panel off, and then we'll be ready to start assembling. Go ahead and sit back down here. All right. Like I said, it's full-size ATX motherboard support case. It's got one fan included in the back, 120 millimeter. It's got room for 120 or 140 in the front, 120 and 140 in the, 140 in the top, 120 and 140 in the front, two of them, so you could run a 280 millimeter radiator if you wanted to. So what I'm going to do, because I have the 3-pack of the RGB fans, I'm probably going to put 2 in the front and 1 in the back, and I'm going to take this one here and move it to the top. It's probably what I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and get this thing opened up. Let's start putting this computer together. Alright, so as you can see here, we got fans installed. I got all 3 of those in. I did realize that I need to get a fan splitter, so I'm only going to be able to hook up 3 of them for right now. So the top one I'm just going to not have plugged into anything. As soon as I get a fan splitter, I'll be able to just pop the back panel off and should be able to put that in with no problem. So motherboard should be all good here. Got my screws all sorted out, so I got the ones that I need. And let's go ahead and drop the motherboard in. Alright, so motherboard is installed. And all the screws are in. I kind of tried to pre-route at least a couple of these cables. So now I'm going to go ahead and stand the case back up, start routing cables, and I'll be putting the power supply here in just a moment. Alright, so system is all connected up. I did some cable management, moving connectors and stuff around. Looks like I need to move where I have my SSD plugged into. I need to have it plugged into a normal. There's 2 different kinds of slots, I guess, in this motherboard. So I'm going to go ahead and move which SATA port on the motherboard the SSD is connected to. We're going to jump back into. I did a quick boot on it. Works. We'll get into that here in just a second. Everything seems okay, but I need to move this hard drive to a different slot before I can continue any further. So let me do that real quick. Be right back. Alright, so as you can see here, I do have it booted back up. I switched the drives around on which SATA ports they were connected to. I've got, don't know, can't see. Up on top there, I got a flash drive. Has the updated BIOS. I'm doing that first, updating the BIOS. And then I'm going to, from there, I should be able to, I've got this drive here. This has Windows on it. This has my Windows installer. So that's going to go on next once this is complete. As I mentioned, I have already updated the, I've updated the timings on the RAM. I went ahead and I loaded the XMP setting. It picked up 3000 megahertz right away. So that was outstanding. As you can see here, my motherboard, for those of you who are worried about whether or not your board is going to be ready for the 2000 series CPUs, if you're getting this B350 gigabyte board, mine came with BIOS version F21 on it, which was good enough. That was updated. I believe this one was as of, hang on, let me jump over to my other screen here. F21 was uploaded on February 12th. And so F10 was the one that allowed for the APUs to work out of the box. So mine came with F21. It went F10. What was the next one? F10, F20, and then F21 was the order on them. So this one came with F21. The newest one is F23. That was only released last week, it looks like. And we're going to reboot here, it looks like. Okay, and boot back up. We'll go ahead and tap our delete button here. There we go. All right, cool. So we're up into the BIOS. CPU got a little warm there real quick, but it's cooling right back down. That's good. Memory's down to okay, I might need to update that again. So basically, in order to update your memory, you go here, XMP, Extreme Memory Profile XMP. You want to hit Profile 1, and if you saw that, jumped it up from 21 to 30, which is basically 3,000 megahertz for the RAM. And now we will, let's see what we got here. Okay, so we're showing my drives here. That's my 1 terabyte mechanical that I need to reformat, and then there's my SSD. And so that's all good. Peripherals. Obviously, I can play around with the RGB here. Got RGB Fusion. Now I can do that and give it a second here, and it should. Update to blue. There it goes. All right, cool. So you can change this all around. Go red. That's kind of, I think, what I'm going to go with for the moment. Or you can do color cycle, which is kind of neat. So there's color cycle. You know what? I'll leave it on that. So escape. So now what I need to do, I need to save and exit. And I need to take this USB drive out. I need to take my USB drive with Windows on it, plug that in, then we'll get loading Windows on, and we'll be on to the next step. Oh, by the way, so I've got it booted off right now. This is 16 gigabyte, so that's the Windows one. So we'll go ahead and plug that in. I've got it off at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and do some cable management here, and go ahead and get the panels on. I feel comfortable enough now that I think we're good to go ahead and put panels on this. Everything's working fine. Memory overclocked fine. It's reading all of it. So yeah, everything should be good. I'm going to go ahead and throw the panels on this, and then we'll get Windows loaded up. Okay, real quick, just before I go ahead and put this panel back on, I want to show you kind of what I've done with my cable management back here. I think I did pretty good, actually. Took everything out along the edges like this. So everything's kind of all around. Kind of tuck the extras down here. This is a real pain in the ass down here. I'm going to tell you that right now. Where this hard drive cage is versus where the power supply is, man, that is a really, really tight fit there. But anyways, there's my cable management. I think I did pretty decent on that. Let me go ahead and slap this panel on, and we'll be back in business. Alright guys, so this is going to be the last video for tonight. So everything seems to be up and running. I just need to work on getting some programs set up. But one thing that I've come across here that has just blown me away is the difference between an SSD and a regular hard drive. Obviously the computers are completely different in terms of the hardware they have as well. But I want to show you something. So I'm going to take, I've got both computers set up, and I'm going to be doing that here in just a second. I'm just going ahead and unhooking the old computer and getting the new one just all set up on the dual monitors. So, but watch this though. I'm going to hit restart on both of them at the same time, and let's see what happens. So 1, 2, 3, restart. So first of all, the first computer didn't even like it. It doesn't like apps that are open and preventing me from restarting, apparently. This one is now up and running. It's hit restart anyway. Anyways, so the new computer here is completely all set up. It's done. It's back restarted. I'm on the Windows screen. We're restarting. Yeah, I know, it takes a long time, doesn't it? Yeah, Midnight's not happy about how long this takes.
2 hours later.
And one computer is still not on yet. You know what, guys? I'm going to go ahead and just cut that there. I'll be back with some more of this tomorrow as I'm getting everything updated. But as of right now, everything seems to be working great. I love it. And I will see you guys at the conclusion of this video here. So, thanks for sticking with me through this, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, so as you can see, got everything all switched around. Got the new computer installed in its now more permanent location. Monitors are all hooked up. Everything's all set to go here. Being filmed a couple of days later. If you couldn't tell already, I was starting to get pretty tired and pretty worn out. It was getting late when I was finishing this all up, and I had to do all the installation of Windows and updates and all that type of thing. So it was a lot of work. Pretty easy. I think I probably made my life a lot more difficult by trying so hard to film everything here. But as you can see, the computer is working good. I've been using it the last few days. I've been playing some games on it. It performs very, very well. So I'm very happy with the performance of it. I do have some ideas now on things that I do want to do in the future. I'm kind of already thinking ahead. One thing is I'm still trying to figure out how to sync up the RGB on the motherboard versus the RGB on the RAM versus the RGB on the case. I'm going to have to just literally just do some research on that, try and figure that out, how to coordinate everything all together. The LED fans, those Thermaltake fans that I got, are very, very dim. They don't light up anything. So what my plan is in the future, when I put a GPU and a more powerful CPU in here, I'll probably do an AIO cooler with a 240 mil rad to go in the front here. And I'll get one of those with RGB on those fans, and then I'll just get 2 RGB fans, one for the top, one for the back. So that's what I'll do to kind of tie everything all together there with all the RGB. So that'll happen in the future. In the meantime, like I said, computer's been performing great. I've already kind of started working on some of the beginning of this video. I found a program called Lightworks. That's a free program for video editing. So I'm learning on that, kind of trying to figure out how to do things. I always used Windows Movie Maker before. I can't even get that anymore because of some updates that Windows did between when I downloaded it on my old computer to the new computer. So I can't even get it anymore. That's okay. I'm completely fine with stepping up to a better editing program. So all in all, I'm very happy with the build. We have one last thing that we have to do before we say goodbye. If you notice, I still have the plastic on here. Not allowed to do that until the computer is all set up and done. So here is the magic moment. The most satisfying of all sounds. Peeling off the plastic. And crumpling that up is going to definitely get my cat's attention, so we'll make sure to put that in the trash, take that out right away. This last little sticker here saying tempered glass, please handle with care. And there it is. Stickers are off. It's ready to go. And and there's the computer in all its glory. So now that this is done, I've already downloaded OBS. Haven't played with it yet. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm in the middle now of 6 days straight. So get my next days off. I will start planning on trying to. I'm going to try firing up OBS, trying to see what I can do about starting up on some streaming. Played a little bit of City Skylines. It runs on this computer just fine. A couple other games, they run great. So all in all, very happy with all this. I highly encourage you, if you're a noob like me, if you've never built a computer before, this is worth it. This is worth every penny that I spent on it. It's worth every minute that it took me to do this. I felt slightly nervous but comfortable. Do research, watch videos. Paul's Hardware, Bitwit, Jay's 2 Cents. Those three are kind of the primary ones that I've really leaned on for building a computer, watching some of their tutorials, watching their how-tos. There's a whole bunch of other YouTubers out there that I watch and follow that I love. Love their content. But those are the big ones that have really... If you ever see this, Jay, Kyle, or Paul, thank you. What you guys do as the big-time YouTubers helps guys like me out. I plan on taking this computer a long way. So thank you guys for everything you do to inspire people like me to do this. Really appreciated. And for all you guys who have been subscribed to the channel, who are looking for more, I got good news. Now that this baby's running, you're going to see a lot more videos coming. So watch for that in the very near future. Thank you guys very much for joining me here today, and I will see you in the next video.